Welcome back to Squawk Box. The Department of Homeland Security unveiling a set of recommendations for the safe development and deployment of artificial intelligence in America's infrastructure. The framework was developed with the help from the newly established Artificial Intelligence Safety and Security Board. It was chaired by the Secretary of Homeland Security and populated with some of the top CEOs in business, including OpenAI's Sam Altman, Microsoft's Satya Nadella, NVIDIA's Jensen Huang. Joining us right now, first on CNBC, is Secretary of Homeland Security Alejandro Mayorkas. Good morning to you, Mr. Secretary. Thank you for joining us. It's a fascinating effort to try to regulate or at least put some guidelines around where AI is going. At the same time, of course, this is the end of this administration. And so I sort of have a double-barreled question, which is to say, what is the significance of this and where you see this going? But also, what is the significance of this in the context that a new administration is coming into office in January?
Andrew, thanks so much for having me. So let me be clear that these are voluntary guidelines. They are not regulations. In fact, if companies throughout the AI ecosystem adopt and implement these voluntary guidelines, we can ward off precipitous regulation or legislation that can stifle America's leadership and innovation. The guidelines are groundbreaking in two different regards. Number one, and one you referenced at the outset, is the breadth of membership of the AI Safety and Security Board. We have brought in not only cloud and compute infrastructure providers, AI model developers, the companies that own and operate critical infrastructure, but we've also brought in civil society and the public sector. It's a remarkable expanse of participants on this board, number one. And number two, it sets forth a model of shared and separate responsibilities. Everyone in the AI ecosystem has a role to play and has responsibilities to assume and execute to ensure the safe and secure deployment of AI in critical infrastructure, which is our water, our energy.
Speak to the big details, though, of what these guidelines look like. There's been lots of questions about sort of these various roles, you know, a large language model that's closed, like an OpenAI version, versus you know, an open model that almost anybody can get, but then it appears from the guidelines that some of the cloud providers where these things would sit would also have some of their own guidelines around these things. How would it work?
So this is really an overarching architecture that we hope companies throughout will adopt and implement, and each one has its role to play, and we identify the different responsibilities. If it's a cloud and compute infrastructure provider, making sure that there's the access to that infrastructure is safe and secure, so it's not, in essence, polluted. The model developers in making sure there's data integrity. The critical infrastructure operators making sure that they're testing the systems before deploying, because the consequences can be incredibly advantageous on the one hand, but the risks are real on the other. So those are some simple examples.
What do you think this looks like as there is a transition? I recognize these are only guidelines, but to the extent a new administration comes in, potentially with either new, different, or other alternative priorities, where do you think this lands?
Well, it is our hope, and the members of the board are committed to it, is our hope that companies and organizations throughout the ecosystem adopt and implement these guidelines. It's going to advance the safety and security of the entire enterprise. This is not a regulatory regime, and it's not a legislative regime. It is a voluntary framework, and we hope that it's really accepted and adopted throughout. It will also critically drive harmonization. What we can't have, companies suffer so much if there's a patchwork of regulations that control them, and it's so difficult to comply with sometimes regulations that are either in tension with one another or sometimes directly conflict. We're hoping this adoption and implementation is not only domestic, but international as well.
Mr. Secretary, while we have you here, you know, we've seen the results of the election, et cetera, and the border, and it became such a flashpoint and such a front and center issue. And one of the questions to Vice President Harris was, would you have done anything differently? And I don't know whether that affected the outcome, but just in a word, I know that you serve at the whatever the president asks you to do is the way that you serve. But do you think that there should have been anything done differently over the past 4 years at the border? Do you think the election outcome could have been different? Anything that you would have done as an individual differently?
Well, Joe, I'm not going to speculate about electoral outcomes, but I can tell you this, that the model that we have in place now have driven the number of encounters at the southern border down below 2019 levels, the last year before the pandemic struck our country and the world. We're facing an unprecedented level of displacement of people around the world. We have actually built an architecture now that is proving tremendously successful.
Right. It was more recent than I think some of the damage had already been done, Mr. Secretary, just with all due respect. Anything prior to that, like from the inception of the administration, that could have been done differently? It was something that a lot of people just, it became a major flashpoint in people's thinking for the election.
No question. It did, Joe. And remember where we were. Remember where we were up through May of 2023. Everyone across the aisle was really supporting the continuation of Title 42, the public health order, not an immigration measure, but a public health order, because we were still climbing out of the pandemic more rapidly than any country in the hemisphere, but nevertheless still encountering it. So remember what the push was until May of 2023. And then what the administration did was correctly push for more funding for the Department of Homeland Security, as well as the only enduring solution, which is legislation to fix a broken system.
Mr. Secretary, we're out of time. How do you like Governor Kristi Noem, your potential successor?
I am going to focus on a smooth transition and ensure that she, if she is indeed confirmed, has an understanding of the challenges we face and a good understanding and grip on the tools and capabilities we've built to meet those challenges.
Okay, we're out of time. It's a longer conversation. I hope we get to continue to have it with you. Secretary, thank you for joining us this morning. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Andrew.